Hi, I'm Maria Dancing Hart, the author of The Last Adventure of Life. It's an inspirational resource book for end-of-life care. And I've done hospice work for many years as a bereavement and spiritual counselor, and I'm told that my book is a wonderful introduction to hospice. One of the questions I've been asked is, what is the most profound experience I've had as a hospice worker? And as I think back, there was a most profound experience I had as I entered a gentleman's room, and it turned out that he was very close to death. This was a day in which I remember I had a certain plan all laid out, and that plan had to be totally turned around because I heard from a colleague that a gentleman wished to have the anointing by me with the oils. I had anointed him previously, and it turned out that he was still struggling with his breathing and needed some assist at this time. So I immediately went to his room at a hospice unit, and I found him in his bed with his daughter on one side and his granddaughter on the other. And they were quite distressed because he was distressed. He was having breathing problems. He had an oxygen mask on around his face. And I was guided to go in and first remove the oxygen mask and place some oils right around his nose and face area. Then I went to his chest and his feet and anointed him with some more of the oils. And at the very end, I went to his forehead and anointed him with some frankincense oil on his head. And what was amazing about this experience was, shortly after the anointing of the oils, the breathing of this gentleman calmed way, way down. He just became very calm in his breathing. And then shortly thereafter, he opened his eyes and he looked straight up. And his daughter, who happened to be a nurse, said, "Oh, he's going, he's going." And I thought to myself, well, maybe it's possible, but one never knows at this time, you know. And I began to play some music that I had brought into the room too, something quite spiritual. And sure enough, within a few more minutes, so I would say in total of about 15, 20 minutes of my administering the oils on him, this gentleman had taken his leave. He was ready to go, and he took this opportunity to go into the next realm. And the three of us in the room were quite amazed that he had gone so quickly. We hadn't even had time to go and find a nurse or anyone else to come into the room. So we did go and find, a couple of nurses did come into the room, and they too were rather surprised. They checked his limbs and discovered that he had not modeled the way a person who is dying might model, which means, you know, their circulation is getting poorer, and so their skin becomes rather gray, and they are losing that aspect of their liveliness. But this gentleman had just found the opportunity and taken off. And one thought that the daughter had was that his loved one, he had had a daughter who had died not so long before. That was one of the reasons he didn't want to die right away. He didn't want to cause more grief for his family. But the daughter wondered if perhaps this other daughter, her sister, had shown up to let him know that it was time and it would be okay for him to make his journey, his crossing over time. And who's to say, perhaps he did see his daughter and was given the permission to move on and to ease out of his physical suffering and move into the next realm. I'm reminded of a saying that I've heard, which is that death is not unlike taking off a tight shoe, a shoe that doesn't fit on your foot anymore. And I love that image. I do believe that this gentleman was freed of that tight shoe that no longer fit him and was able to head to heavenly shores.